Good day everyone, and welcome to where we are putting together solutions to those math and science areas that students are getting, especially at the Form 5 or CSEC level and the Form 6 or CAPE level. In this video, we will be concentrating on CSEC Mathematics and the topic of measurement. Specifically, within measurement, we'll be looking at scale drawings. We'll be looking at the past paper solutions for questions from May 2018 until the present. Feel free to like the video and add any comments down below so we can create other videos to help you in whatever areas you are getting problems with. Don't forget to look at the description down below, which gives the complete direction to cover the entire of the CSEC Maths syllabus, all the past paper question solutions in all the topics from May 2009 until the present. Let's recall the major topics in CSEC Mathematics, of which there are 10 of them. And this video will be looking at number 4, which is measurement. Measurement comes for 8 questions in the multiple choice paper and 1 full question in paper 2 with 9 marks. Measurement can be subdivided into 2 areas, scale drawings or perimeter area and volume. Each question in the long paper either comes as one or both of these topics combined. For scale drawings, which we are looking at in this video, it came as half of the question in 2018, half of the question in 2019, which means the other half was perimeter area and volume. And there were no questions in 2020 due to the cancelling of the exams for the pandemic. And in 2021, the question was entirely on perimeter and area and volume, so there were no questions on scale drawings there either. May 2018, number 6, part B. A globe is a scaled spherical representation of the Earth. The actual length of the equator LL is 40,000 kilometers and is represented on the globe by a piece of string of length 160 centimeters. Part 1. What length of string would represent an actual distance of 500 kilometers on the globe? So if we consider this question, then we can look at it as a ratio. And what did they give us? We're connecting what is happening on the equator. So 160 centimeters of string, which is what is on the map, is equivalent to 40,000 kilometers in real. So we have a ratio. And what do we want to find? We want to find out how much string there is. So we need to first find 1 kilometer in real. So how do we go from 40,000 to 1 kilometer? We divide by 40,000 on the right hand side. So we'll divide by 40,000 on the left hand side. So we'll get 160 divided by 40,000 centimeters on the map will give us 1 kilometer in real. And we actually want to find out for 500 kilometers in real. So how do we go from 1 kilometer to 500 kilometers? We multiply by 500 on the right hand side. So we multiply by 500 on the left hand side. And we can use our calculators and solve this. We can multiply 160 by 500, the numerators, and when we get our answer, divide by 40,000. Or we can cancel zeros. There are 2 zeros in 500. They will cancel with 2 zeros in the 40,000. There's 1 zero in 160. That will cancel another 0 in the 40,000. So we'll be left with 5 into 5, 1, 5 into 48, 8 into 8, 1, 8 into 16, 2. So 500 kilometers in real will be 2 centimeters on the map. And for part 2, the distance between Palmyra, P, and Quintet, Q, is represented on the globe by a string of length 25 centimeters. Calculate the value of PQ, the actual distance in kilometers between P and the Q. So now we're using the same ratio 160 centimeters on the map will give us 40,000 kilometers in real. But in this question, we're actually finding out how much kilometers there in real. So let's find for 1 centimeter on the map. So how do we go from 160 cm to 1 cm? We divide by 160 on the left-hand side. So we divide by 160 on the right-hand side. And we want to find for PQ, that distance, which is 25 centimeters on the map. So how do we go from 1 cm to 25 cm? We multiply by 25 on the left. So we multiply by 25 on the right. So we have 40,000 multiplied by 25 divided by 160. And we use our calculators and solve, and we'll get 6,250 kilometers in real. So the distance from Palmyra to Quintet, which is 25 centimeters on the map, which is represented there, is actually 6,250 kilometers in the real world. May 2019, number 6A. The scale on a map is 1 to 25,000. What does that actually mean? It means for any unit that we're using that ratio 1 to 25,000. So if we're using 1 meter, if the map was big enough and we had 1 meter on the map, that would represent in the real world 25,000 meters. If we're using 1 centimeter on the map, then it will represent 25,000 centimeters in the real world. So part 1. Determine the actual distance in kilometers represented by 0.5 centimeters on the map. So let's write our ratio. 1C on the map would be giving us 25,000 centimeters in real. And we want our answer in kilometers, so we can convert centimeters to kilometers. And how do we do that? If we look at our table, we can see that if we're at centimeters and we want to find kilometers, so we want to go upwards. So that means we're going to get a smaller answer because kilometers is a larger unit. So if we're going upwards, we're going to be dividing. And how much are we dividing by? Let's move. From centimeters, we move to decimeters, that's 1. Decimeter to meter, that's 2. Meter to decameter, 3. Decameter to hectometer, 4. Hectometer to kilometer, 5. So it means we're dividing by a number with 5 zeros. So what number is that? 100,000. So we can now write 1 cm on the map is equal to 25,000 divided by 100,000 kilometers in real. So we've just converted from centimeter to kilometers. And we can simplify that. So using our calculators, or we can just shift the 0.5 places, means that 1 cm on the map is equal to 0.25 kilometers in real. Now let's look at our question. They're asking us to find 0.5 centimeters on the map. So if 1 cm on the map is we already have, how do we find for 0.5 cm? We multiply by 0.5 on the left hand side, so we multiply by 0.5 on the right hand side. So 0.5 cm on the map will give us 0.25 multiplied by 0.5, and that will be 0.125 kilometers in real. And now for part 2, where they're asking us to calculate the actual area in kilometers squared, represented by 2.25 centimeters squared on the map. So let's look at our little sketch we're going to make here. If we look at our map, we draw a 1 centimeter squared. That means the length is 1 centimeter and the width is 1 centimeter. And we know from our scale that 1 centimeter on the map works out to be 0.25 kilometers. So if we draw the actual distance, then we're going to be using the length as 0.25 kilometers and the width as 0.25 kilometers, as we worked out in part 1. So let's write. To find the area of the 1 centimeter squares is 1 cm times 1 cm on the map would be equivalent to 0.25 kilometers times 0.25 kilometers in real. Remember, area of a square is length times breadth. So 1 cm by 1 cm, 1 ones are 1 centimeter squared on the map is equal to 0.25 by 0.25, using our calculators, 0.0625 kilometers squared in real. Now we know 1 cm squared is that. We want to find out for 2.25 centimeters squared. So how do we go from 1 to 2.25? We multiply by 2.25 on the left-hand side. So we do the same thing on the right-hand side. So 2.25 centimeters squared on the map works out to be 0.140625 kilometers squared in real. And since our answer has three significant figures, 2.25 centimeters squared, then we can round off or approximate to three significant figures as well. So we can rewrite it as 2.25 centimeters squared on the map will be 0.141 kilometers squared in real. We've now come to the end of CSEC past paper questions in our topic measurement, specifically scale drawings. In our last video, we did past paper questions on this topic from 2009 until 2017, all the May questions that came. And in this video, we did from 2018 to the present. Feel free to look at the description down below to get a guide on how you should cover the entire CSEC Maths syllabus with all the past paper question solutions from May 2009 until the present.